We live in interesting times. Today's stories. UN Relief and Works Agency is in the worst financial crisis ever after U.S. aid cuts. European Union Trade Commissioner meets her American counterpart. U.S. calls International Criminal Court dangerous. CBS CEO steps down over sexual misconduct claims. Plus, Miss Philippines USA pageant promotes Phil-Am culture and community. Hello everyone, I am Jennifer Polintan, bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Commissioner General for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, Pierre Krahenbuhl, gives a press conference at the United Nations Information Center in Cairo on the situation in the Palestinian territories after the United States cuts more than $200 million in bilateral aid to the Palestinians, as well as canceled its support for the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. The head of the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees on Monday appealed for funds to tackle an unprecedented financial crisis caused by the United States scrapping contributions.
It's not about UNRWA, it's about the 526,000 Palestinian refugee boys and girls that we have in our schools throughout the Middle East. It's the over 3 million patients that use our clinics every year, and it's the 1.5 million people who benefit from our emergency work. This is what is at stake, because this year Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar have announced each $50 million to UNRWA at a time of crisis, which means a great deal. It's a very important support that has come our way. We'll need approximately $200 million to close this year's shortfall. I would, of course, be very hopeful that some of the countries that have not yet made contributions may consider that. That's tomorrow or in weeks to come. That would be very important for us. And of course, that the League of Arab States and its members would support us in the efforts to get money also from other countries around the world. I mean, UNRWA has experienced many different types of crises since it was created. The crisis of the original forced displacement of the Palestinians, and then, different chapters in its history, the Lebanese civil war, the intifadas. Of course, in human terms, those were absolutely catastrophic. In financial institutional terms, yes, this is the worst crisis ever.
The United States was the biggest contributor to the agency's budget in 2017, donating $350 million. The U.S. State Department said last month that it would no longer fund the UNRWA because it was irredeemably flawed. Krahenbuhl said to help plug the shortfall, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar have all said they will contribute $50 million each. He added he was hopeful that China, Japan, India, and European countries would also contribute funds. Krahenbuhl on Monday met Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and Arab League chief Ahmed Aboulgheit. A statement by the League said Arab countries will not permit the dismantling of the UNRWA. On Tuesday, Arab League states will meet in Cairo for a summit, attended by Krahenbuhl, devoted largely to the UNRWA. Arab League member Jordan said in late August that it was organizing a conference in the aid of Palestinian Refugee Agency for September 27th in New York. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency has provided essential aid to millions of Palestinians since it was established nearly 70 years ago, just after the war surrounding Israel's creation in 1948. The termination of funding by the U.S. was welcomed by Israel, but described as cruel and irresponsible by Hanan Ashwari, a member of the Palestinian Liberation Organization's Executive Committee.
European Union Trade Commissioner Cecilia Malmström meets her American counterpart, Robert Lighthizer, in Brussels in an effort to iron out differences on trade talks announced to great fanfare this summer.
U.S. President Donald Trump and European Commission head Jean-Claude Juncker in July pledged to hold off from further tit-for-tat tariffs and to work towards a limited trade accord that would scrap customs duties on all goods. Both sides ballyhooed the deal as a major breakthrough, but subsequent statements made clear that misunderstandings persisted, especially over agriculture, which Washington insists will be a key part of any agreement. Under pressure from France, the Europeans firmly reject that farming goods be included in trade negotiations, and Europe's top trade official Cecilia Malmstrom will attempt to clear up the matter with U.S. counterpart Robert Lighthizer. Officials have set very low expectations for the meeting, which is the very first of several expected sit-downs to map out on which sectors common grounds can be found.
Up next, U.S. calls International Criminal Court dangerous. CBS CEO steps down over sexual misconduct claims. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return in a moment. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. White House National Security Advisor John Bolton branded the International Criminal Court dangerous and unaccountable on Monday, saying it constitutes an assault on U.S. sovereignty.
In theory, the ICC holds perpetrators of the most egregious atrocities accountable for their crimes, provides justice to the victims, and deters future abuses. In practice, however, the court has been ineffective, unaccountable, and indeed outright dangerous.
Bolton said the United States rejects any move by the court to prosecute American service members and intelligence officials over alleged detainee abuse in Afghanistan, allegations the court is currently reviewing. He called it an utterly unfounded, unjustifiable investigation. He said, "The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court."
U.S. television giant CBS announced Sunday the immediate departure of powerful CEO Leslie Moonves on the biggest scalps in the #MeToo era, following a slew of escalating sexual misconduct allegations. Moonves, who transformed the corporation into the most watched television network in the country, was one of the most respected executives in Hollywood until he was first publicly accused.
Two articles published by The New Yorker on July 27th and on the day that his departure was announced detailed allegations against the 68-year-old television titan from 12 different women. CBS subsequently declared that he would depart as chairman, president, and CEO effective immediately, and that he and the network would donate $20 million to support the #MeToo movement and equality for women in the workplace. CBS said the donation, which will be made immediately, has been deducted from any severance benefits that may be due to Moonves. The corporation announced the disgraced CEO will not receive any compensation pending the results of an investigation into the allegations against him, being conducted by two blue-chip law firms. CBS announced in a statement, "Any payments to be made in the future will depend upon the results of the independent investigation and subsequent board evaluation." Moonves' departure has been widely expected, and the U.S. media reporting that the terms of his exit had been under negotiation for weeks, and a deal had been anticipated before markets opened on Monday. At least one report had suggested that he could get a golden handshake of $100 million in stock. One of his accusers, Jessica Pallingston, told the Pulitzer-winning journalist Ronan Farrow, who broke the allegations against Moonves in The New Yorker, that such a payoff would be completely disgusting. CBS announced that Chief Operating Officer Joseph Iannello will be president and acting CEO, overseeing all operations of the company, while the board searches for a permanent successor. Along with Moonves' departure, CBS said that it had agreed to settle a lawsuit with National Amusements pending in Delaware that would appoint 6 new independent directors to the board. The deal upheld the control of the Redstone family, whose members control an 80% voting stake in CBS, who agreed to drop, for at least 2 years, a proposed merger with the Viacom Group. In July, Faro's first bombshell report detailed sexual harassment allegations from 6 women and complaints from dozens of others as a culture within the company tolerating sexual misconduct. While CBS appoints a team of lawyers to investigate, there was outrage from some advocates that Moonves was kept on the job. On Sunday, The New Yorker published allegations from another 6 women who said that Moonves sexually harassed or assaulted them between 1980 and the early 2000s.
Coming up, Miss Philippines USA pageant promotes Phil-Am culture and community. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly. This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C., and I am Jennifer POLINTAN. Eagle News correspondents Eva and Alan Basalahe take us to the Miss Philippines USA 2018 pageant, an event determined to further promote Filipino-American culture here in the United States and to encourage confidence in women, especially in situations under pressure. Here's the story.
I'm Alexandra Dolampines, Miss Young Philippines USA Filipino Town and Congeniality. Keep watching Eagle News International. You won't be disappointed.
The Alex Theater in Glendale, California is once again the site of the Miss Philippines USA pageant.
This organization is dedicated to promoting the Filipino-American culture and showcasing the beauty of the Filipino-American woman.
I think that what makes the Philippine woman so beautiful is the fact that we are all about family, about values, honestly about religion, you know, and these kind of things are very true to our culture and who we are.
What goes on through the minds of these young ladies?
You know, it takes a lot to even get to the point of even entering, right? And from that point on, once you have the guts enough to do that, I think that you keep on giving yourself that extra inch to keep on going forward. You know, with the Me Too movement and all those kind of things, there's that comparison of why do you want to subject women to this? But a lot of the times, we as women are not given certain opportunities in general, right? And this gives women and young girls a chance to express themselves in high-pressure situations, to have confidence in high-pressure situations, to have poise in high-pressure situations. And these are the things that are going to matter as they move forward in life.
How long have you been doing this?
This is year 7. So we went back to the first year when they asked me to do it. They found out I was Filipino first off, and I was at the time I was working for a red carpet show, and they said, "Hey, do you want to do this thing? We're just starting it. It's the first year, Miss Philippines USA." And I'm like, I've never done anything like that, but heck yeah, let's do it. It's these brave girls getting up on stage every single year and showing how proud they are to be Filipino and how intelligent they are. It's an honor to come back.
And what does it mean, in your opinion, to these young ladies to be able to represent the Filipino-American community?
I think it is such an important responsibility to represent the community because we have so little in America that are in the spotlight. Manny Pacquiao is such a huge name, of course, but that's one of few. And yeah, there's others who have paved the way, but we still have a long way to go. And I would love to see these ladies and the ladies in years past rise up and be faces of the Filipino community in the U.S.
What is the difficult part about competing in a pageant like this?
You should just enjoy the experience, learn from it, and you gain everything. You gain confidence, new friends, and you gain lasting relationships with different people. So there's nothing to be difficult, nothing to be worried about, and there's nothing difficult about it.
And what are the qualities you're looking for to represent Miss Philippines USA?
I'm looking for someone that can represent Philippines USA community, and someone that has a beautiful heart, and someone that can spread positivity in these trying times.
Is this the first time you're acting as a judge here at Miss Philippines USA?
Yes, it is. It is the first time. I've heard about this pageant. I've never attended before, but I've always read about it, and it's great to be a part of it today. Every one of these girls is beautiful, so it is very hard to judge, but I'm very blessed to have this opportunity today. If you haven't been to this Miss Philippines competition, I highly recommend coming next year. We'll save a seat for you.
We're here to see my daughter participate in the Miss Young Philippines pageant. There's been months of pageant training with our pageant coach. She's been exercising to keep physically fit, and she's been practicing her walk and her questions and answer periods and things like that.
What kind of support are we giving her today?
Everything we got.
We are supporting my daughter, Janet Hammond, candidate number 19.
And if she gets crowned Miss Philippines USA, can you tell us what goes on after here? I mean, what is her plans? What is her future?
Just basically just a lot of charity and joining a lot of different organizations and making that connection to help her get into the right path.
After a few more rounds on the red carpet, guests proceeded to fill the over 1,400 seating capacity theater. The pageant was a spirited affair filled with live entertainment, numerous awardings, and a routine performed by the Little Miss Philippines princesses. By night's end, the stage had been set for the coronation of two lovely and deserving young women. For Ms. Young Philippines USA, the crown went to Mariel Mendoza. And the winner for Miss Philippines USA was Janet Hammond.
I still can't believe this. This had happened to me. Actually, it was so unexpected.
You can't believe it happened to you, but you worked very hard to get here.
I did. I think throughout this pageant, I always think about how I would work hard to get the title, but I wasn't thinking about the prize. I was actually I was actually leaning towards more about what I would do if I would win, which is, like the platform that I would share with people.
With this win that you have, a lot of opportunities will start to enter your life. What's going on through your mind just thinking about that?
Well, even before this, Miss Philippines USA has provided me with so many opportunities and brought me closer to the Filipino-American community, and I'm ready for this year.
In the question and answer segment of the pageant, all the contestants delivered well-executed and insightful comments.
If we'd have to pick a single response, it would be this: beauty comes from the heart. Reporting from Glendale, California for Eagle News, this is Eva and Alan, and we are 1 with 25.
Thanks, Eva and Alan. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Jennifer POLINTAN, and I am 1 with 25.